Senator, the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, and the Honorable Orlando Terrelong, and Mr. Courtney Campbell, the platform party included Mr. Mark Golding, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, the Honorable Orlando Terrelong, and Mr. Courtney Campbell. And the Prime Minister will join after the procession. Once the party has arrived, please invite the audience. We will invite the audience to stand for the procession of flags. The procession of 17 flags representing the diasporan countries. No doubt, hence the choice of this patriotic song, I Pledge My Heart, which will play in the background while the students are walking with their respective flags. We will announce each country and student as they start to arrive and advise the gathering that they will proceed in alphabetical order, starting with, well, in just a moment. So we're back on track, time-wise? Okay. And, okay. So the Honorable Minister has taken her position. That's the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. And we've already brought to your attention the presence of Mr. Courtney Campbell of VM Group, CEO, and Mr. Mark Golding, Leader of the Opposition. Members of the Cabinet, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Diaspora Council members, legacy partners, sponsors, Jamaicans at home, and those visiting from overseas, good morning, and thank you for joining us for today's ceremonial opening of the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference under the distinguished patronage of the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. This year, we are delighted by the overwhelming support from our diaspora, from both traditional and non-traditional diaspora communities, as well as our brothers and sisters at home. It is in this spirit that we use the occasion to recognize the 17 diaspora-based countries from which our diasporans traveled. This will be done through that procession we referenced, the procession of flags, in observation of the 17 diasporic locations represented in alphabetical order. And we start with the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, represented by Miss Kerry Alexander of Anchovy High. Kingdom of Belgium, represented by Ricardo Davis of Cornwall College. Canada, represented by Miss Tony Ann Blake of John Rawlins Success Primary. Cayman Islands, represented by Mr. Zamar Ford of Corinaldi Avenue Primary. The Republic of Chile, represented by Miss Kim Sue Miller. Represented by Mr. Matteo Beckford of Cornwall. French Republic, France, represented by Miss Makeda Spence of Mount Alvernia. The Federal Republic of Germany, represented by Deshaun Willocks of Anchovy High. The Republic of Ghana, represented by Ms. Ebony Douglas of Corinaldi Avenue. Kingdom of the Netherlands, Mr. Jahir White of John Rawlins Success Primary. The Federal Republic of Nigeria, represented by Ms. Malia Wallace of Mount Alvernia High. The Republic of South Africa, represented by Mr. Dwayne Finnekin of Spot Valley High. The Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, represented by Miss Thejador Carr of Corinal. The United Arab Emirates, represented by Mr. Jaron Hilton of Cornwall College. United Mexican States, Mexico, represented by Ms. Bradley Davis of Mount Alvernia High. The United States of America, represented by Mr. Noah Campbell of Anchovy High. And the United Kingdom, represented by Ms. Britannia Williams. The Prime Minister is being preceded by Ms. Savannah Casserly of Mount Alvernia High School, representing the Jamaica flag. Please remain standing for the national anthem. Please remain standing for the opening prayer.
Let us pray. Eternal God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this, the 10th biennial pilgrimage of our people. We thank you for the mission that it represents as we seek to stand in unity for the transformation of this our island home, Jamaica. We come, Lord, with our cares. We come, Lord, with our commitments. We come with our confidence. And so we pray for our nation as we are concerned about finance, as we have social concerns, as we have political concerns, as we have environmental concerns, as we are deeply concerned about the security of our nation. We pray, gracious God, for love, for peace, for forgiveness, for justice. For these are the things that will make us a healthy nation, where persons can feel confident to be at home and confident to return home. We pray, God, for common courtesy to be the hallmark of our people. For where there's courtesy, one can hardly see situations escalating to produce the results that will cause us to hang our heads in shame. We come, Lord, committed to invest in the good of our nation. We come committed to protect and defend the weak, the young, the elderly. We come committed, O God, to see to it that each person can feel a sense of belonging and therefore a sense of pride in our nation. We do this not because we simply love Jamaica. We do this not simply because, according to our pledge, we seek that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. But we come, Lord, committing ourselves because we want to see the glory of God spread across this nation. We want to see the glory of God spring from this nation. We want to see that as a nation, we are in the forefront of seeing to it that the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of God as the waters cover the sea. And so, Lord, we ask you to forgive us for those times when we depended on ourselves, we relied on ourselves, we hold confidence in self. And we pray that you'll cause us to always remember that unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain that build it. And unless the Lord keeps the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. Cause us to remember always, O God, that blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. So, gracious God, may we always remember and commit ourselves that some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. Father, we pray that you'll cause us to always be mindful that they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They will mount up with wings as eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and not faint. So guide this conference, direct this conference, and cause everything that will be said and done throughout this conference to bring glory and honor to your name. And then as time passes and years unfold, we will reap the fruits of our efforts to the honor and glory of your name. So God, be magnified, we pray, in Jesus' name. Amen.
I'm sorry, what did I miss? Okay, just checking. We're going to have now a video message from His Worship, the Mayor, Richard Vernon, Mayor of Montego Bay. We will
Most
also...
Honorable Prime Minister and Your Holiness, Ministers of Government, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, delegates joining us from the diaspora, my fellow Jamaicans, greetings. As we mark 2 decades of formal collaboration between the government of Jamaica and the diaspora, Montego Bay is honored to host this significant gathering and welcome our fellow Jamaicans. The diaspora has enriched our city through sister city arrangements, notably with Atlanta, and we value the ongoing dialogues that aim to foster peace, boost productivity, and empower our youth. Your role in our country's development is pivotal, and we look forward to your active participation in this conference. As a small island developing state, we take pride in our ability to nurture talents that have made a global impact in culture, knowledge, and influence. We are deeply grateful for the support that the diaspora has repatriated, which has helped bridge our development gaps, mitigate effects of our vulnerabilities, and drive the holistic transformation of our country. Your contributions have been instrumental in our progress in health, education, sports, and crime prevention, and we look forward to further collaboration in these areas. With this in mind, the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference promises to be a landmark event. Our city is hopeful for its success and the transformative progress that will stem from the profound discussions. In the spirit of Montego Bay, I wholeheartedly endorse this event and extend my regards. Let us continue our joint efforts to develop practical solutions for the betterment of this little rock. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Courtney Campbell, President and Chief Executive Officer of VM Group and Conference Chair for this 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Mr. Campbell.
Thank you very much, Dervon. Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, members of the Cabinet, and we have a strong Cabinet turnout today, led by the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, or host minister, the Honorable Senator, the Honorable Auburn Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Education, Honorable Pernell Chaz, the Honorable Floyd Green, the Honorable Alonda Terrelong, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Mr. Mark Golding, Leader of the Opposition, Ambassador Sheila Seeley Monteith, the hard-working Ambassador Sheila Seeley Monteith, Permanent Secretary and Head of Jamaica's Foreign Service, members of the Diplomatic Corps, heads of mission, other distinguished guests, conference sponsors, led by Mrs. Grace Burnett, CEO of Grace County Financial Group, and Ms. Claudine Allen from JN, who is representing JN, who is GM of the JN Foundation. And then, very importantly, over 1,135 conference delegates, including hundreds from the 17 countries represented by those flags. Welcome home. And members of the media, good morning to you all, my fellow Jamaicans. What a blessing it is to be gathered here in beautiful Montego Bay, Deputy Mayor will agree, for the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Today we officially begin an engagement that has been thoughtfully designed for the benefit of all attendees, those who live in Jamaica and those who live overseas, as together we exchange ideas and craft action plans for the empowerment of the global Jamaican community. Friends, long gone are the days when the value of relationships between Jamaicans living overseas and those at home can be measured by remittance volumes. The rich potential of collaboration among our people, those within and outside of the nation's borders, demands that we reimagine the dynamics of the Jamaican diaspora with a mind to create optimal value for all involved. Governments across the world, particularly in developing countries, are becoming increasingly aware of this potential and have been making greater effort to foster deeper, mutually beneficial relationships with their diaspora communities. There's a lot for us Jamaicans to do. Government and the private sector must offer the necessary frameworks, programs, and opportunities to maximize, to optimize the potential of an empowered, engaged global Jamaica community. Certainly, this includes providing greater access to information. International investors will naturally be wary of unfamiliar investment environments and must be able to have their questions answered in open and honest ways. There must be easy access to data on investments and business opportunities. So the VM Group, the JN Group, and the GK Financial Group, who are all legacy partners of this conference, all invest heavily in providing financial education and information to the Jamaican diaspora community. The government also maintains open channels through its missions and high commissions. We should, however, all be looking to fortify and sharpen these platforms. Bangkok Bank, for instance, which is the largest commercial bank in Thailand, offers dedicated counseling services for members of their diaspora who are interested in local investment opportunities. Bosnia and Herzegovina's Department for Diaspora maintains an inquiry portal for local investment opportunities. Knowledge is power, and with knowledge comes innovation. So nations such as Israel and India have found great success in diaspora bonds, while South Africa and New Zealand, among others, have established robust mechanisms for knowledge and skills transfer between the homeland and the diaspora. Jamaica, too, can find innovative ways to cultivate an even more nurturing environment for all our people to benefit. Access to effective networks is also key. Globally, governments and private businesses have increasingly been establishing diaspora network organizations in an effort to channel the skills, strengths, and experiences of the diaspora for the benefit of the home nation as well as the people involved. We should all be excited about tomorrow's launch of 2 virtual portals for diaspora engagement and connectivity: the Jamaica Diaspora Engagement Model, JAMDEM, and the Diaspora Registration Portal. We can build and grow these networks through hosting more business networking events, cross-border partnership programs, mentorship programs, and seminars that aim to unite the global Jamaican community. Again, the diaspora partners and other sponsors of this conference have been actively engaged in this kind of effort for many years, but we have an opportunity in this fast-changing world to begin anew and to put our unique skills and strengths as Jamaicans to work for our collective benefit. This was the intention behind the construct of this conference. We have been intentional about providing a platform that would serve the needs of all involved. I am particularly proud that with this energized and intentional approach, we have attracted great support and consequently have achieved record sponsorship. The conference's legacy partners, VM Group, JN Group, and the Grace Kennedy Group have returned because we understand the value in building one global Jamaican community. And we have this year welcomed some new sponsors who themselves understand the tremendous potential of a truly united Jamaican people, unrestricted by geographical borders. So thank you and welcome to Platinum sponsors Blue Maho Capital, Island Car Rentals, National Bakery, Digicel, and the Jamaica Tourist Board. Thank you, too, to the Pinnacle, the National Housing Trust, JMMB, Hardware and Lumber, the Students' Loan Bureau, the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the RJR Gleaner Communications Group, and JAMPRO. I am proud of the remarkable support and the united effort that has led us here. I challenge us all to let this spirit of unity continue to guide our interactions during this conference and beyond. Friends, we know the many challenges that plague us. We may disagree on the solutions that are required to solve them, but disagreements rooted in an honest search for just outcomes can be a good thing. It is for us to remember that we are one people with a shared desire to leave our nation and our relationships as a global community better than we found them. As Jamaicans, we're accustomed to achieving great things in different fields, but we are never complacent. We have more goals to meet, more records to break, more barriers to shatter, but we can only do it as a united body. Jamaicans, bonded together in common purpose, are an unstoppable force. Our very own national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Garvey, famously said, "Unity is strength, and in unity there is strength." Friends, let us build our strength during this conference and in the months and years to come. May God bless you all, and may God bless Jamaica, land we love.
Thank you very much. Let's hear it one more time for Mr. Courtney Campbell. President and CEO, VM Group, and Conference Chair for the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. And the next speaker is the Honorable Orlando Terrelong, MP, JP, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Mr. Terrelong. Minister Terrelong.
Mr. Master of Ceremonies, I have adjusted the mic accordingly. Thank you. The Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness, under whose distinguished patronage we host and welcome the diaspora to Jamaica, Mr. Mark Golding, Leader of the Opposition, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, members of the Cabinet present, Ministers of State, Members of Parliament, Ambassador Sheely Sealy-Monteith, Head of the Jamaican Foreign Service, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Jamaican embassies and high commissions across the world, Mr. Courtney Campbell, Conference Chair and President and CEO of the VM Group, a legacy partner, representatives of the Grace Kennedy and JN Group, other legacy partners, sponsors, donors, heads of diplomatic missions and consular posts, heads of ministries, departments, agencies, and senior government officials, Councillor Richard Vernon, represented by our Deputy Mayor, who I fondly recall as Debo, Dr. Kevin Brown, President of UTEC and former UK North-elected member of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, members of the Diaspora Council and the Diaspora Youth Council, members of the Ghana-Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Madame Lisa Ogilvie, our conference project manager, esteemed guests, moderators, panelists, members of the media, friends of Jamaica, good morning, Machi, Ekaro, Bom dia, Buen dia, Guten Tag, welcome home to all of you. Jamaicans from across the globe, more than 1,200 registered attendees to attend this, the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Coming from some 17 countries, a truly historic occasion and a testament to the strides that the government has made in engaging, empowering, and connecting with you, the members of our diaspora. It is therefore with great honor and extreme enthusiasm that I welcome you to the official opening of the 10th Biennial Global Jamaica Diaspora Conference, a pivotal event aimed at fostering unity, peace, and productivity as we collectively embark on a transformative journey towards a brighter future for our beloved Jamaica. As Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, charged with diaspora relations, I stand before you today filled with pride and gratitude for for the invaluable contributions each and every single one of you have made to Jamaica's growth and development from your respective corners in the world. Having lived and studied overseas, I understand deeply the diaspora experience, the longing for home, and the desire to contribute to Jamaica's development. This conference, therefore, serves as a beacon of hope, a testament to the enduring bonds that connect us as Jamaicans, irrespective of our geographic locations or generational divides. As of today, June 18th, we celebrate a milestone in diaspora achievement. This week truly has been remarkable. On Sunday, we began with a Thanksgiving service at Birchell Memorial Baptist Church, culminating the day with a warm welcome reception that saw close to 600 attendees at the reception. Yesterday, our discussions commenced, covering a range of vital topics, including investment opportunities. For Jamaica has become more than a vacation. Jamaica has truly transformed into destination, trade, and investment for which we can all be very proud. Other topics included empowering our diaspora, national security, health, climate change, and customs, amongst others. We also had the honor of meeting our new police commissioner and the acclaimed chef Wentford Simpson, who spoke about how we can leverage brand Jamaica in our respective homes. We concluded the day on a high note by enjoying the Jamaican play Pitchy Patchy, sponsored by our legacy partner, the VM Group. For those of us who could not make it, you truly missed an exceptional experience. Our theme, entitled United for Jamaica's Transformation, Fostering Peace, Productivity, and Youth Empowerment, underscores the essence of our shared vision and collective commitments to nation building, to building a nation that thrives on inclusivity, progress, and prosperity. It is a call to action, a summons to rally together in solidarity, not fragmentation, a summons to speak with one united voice, whilst recognizing that our diversity is our strength and our true power lies in our true unity. We are therefore not merely participants in a conference. Each and every single one of you represents an architect of change, custodians of our rich heritage, and stewards of our future. As we convene here in Montego Bay, let us seize this opportunity to engage, connect, and empower each other, harnessing the wealth of the knowledge, experience, and passion within our global Jamaican community. Together, we have weathered storms, overcome adversities, and celebrated triumphs. Today, we stand at a pivotal juncture in our nation's history, poised to chart a course towards sustainable peace, heightened productivity, and enhanced youth empowerment. Let us harness this spirit of unity that has guided us through the annals of time, drawing strength from our shared history and collective resolve. I am pleased to report the strides the government of Jamaica has made in various sectors. For instance, we have seen significant reductions in crime, robust economic growth, the implementation of impactful youth empowerment programs, exponential growth in our tourism and agricultural sectors, and critical advancements in healthcare, education, and more recently, constitutional reform as we chart the road to republic. All of these will be dealt with throughout the remainder of the conference. Jamaica is now far removed as a location for just sun, sand, and sea, but now a hub for trade and investment. Yet our journey towards transformation is far from over, and it requires the concerted efforts of each and every single one of us gathered here today. The National Diaspora Policy highlights the strategic direction of the government to not only see the diaspora as investment holders, but also thought leaders in how the country can evolve in its policies. The government is aware that our citizens often migrate to foreign lands for a myriad of reasons. However, we also recognize the challenges our nationals face in adapting to their new homes. As a means of support, or diaspora policy, focuses on assisting, engaging, and empowering our diaspora to grow and bloom wherever they are in the world, in line with this conference. As we embark on this week's proceedings, let us embrace dialogue, collaboration, and innovation, recognizing that our diversity of thought is a wellspring of creativity and progress. Let us heed the call to come home, not merely as a physical place, but to a shared vision of Jamaica that transcends borders and barriers. In closing, I extend my sincere gratitude to all our staff at the Ministry, our legacy partners, stakeholders, and sponsors who have all played a pivotal role in making this conference a reality. Today, delegates, diasporans, Jamaicans, friends of Jamaica one and all, let us seize this momentous occasion to reaffirm our commitment to Jamaica's transformation, to inspire hope, and to forge a legacy of unity, peace, and prosperity for generations to come, generations that will see our young kings and queens who boldly march with the flags representing our respective locations. Let us chart a Jamaica for the next generation, that they too can actually play their part in advancing the welfare of not just Jamaica, but the whole human race. I thank you.
It sounds much better at this level. I'm not going to say too much right now, except to welcome, to say a few words, the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Mark Golding.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Honorable Prime Minister, Minister Johnson Smith, Minister of State Terry Long, Chairman of the conference and of the VM Group, one of our main sponsors, Courtney Campbell, Ministers of Government who are here, members of the Diplomatic Corps, all other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and of course the delegates who have made the effort to come to Jamaica to be part of this 10th Biennial Diaspora Conference. The theme of unity is important as we gather as Jamaicans to think about and discuss the way forward for our country. And indeed, the fact that this is the 10th Biennial Conference of its kind signifies that Jamaica is able to take united positions on important matters. The very first one was under the patronage, or was well organized at the time, by the then Prime Minister P.J. Patterson and the late Senator Delano Franklin, who at that time was responsible for diaspora affairs. And we've seen continuity as both major political parties recognize the importance of the diaspora and the singular importance of this kind of event in affording an opportunity to all of us to come together and to share what we have to share in the spirit of unity or love for our wonderful homeland, Jamaica. I congratulate the organizers for putting on this conference. I know it has not been an easy road, but we are here now, and you're seeing the fruits of your labor. Congratulations to you. Reality is that Jamaica we are a migratory people, and we always have been. And as it stands today, the Jamaicans living abroad constitute more or less a similar number to those living on the rock itself. Our diaspora and the support of our diaspora is absolutely critical to our survival as a nation. They are the largest provider of foreign exchange to our country. They support our balance of payments. They support the value of our currency. And indeed, during the pandemic, when the other critical source of foreign exchange, the tourism industry, basically shut down, Jamaica was able to get through it without any balance of payments or exchange rate crisis because of the stepping up of our diasporans in support of our country. And indeed, the resources that are sent here are resources that directly benefit the Jamaican people. It is the prime social safety net for our people, their relatives abroad who provide support, but also so many good causes that the Jamaican community internationally lends its hand to help life be a little bit better here for our people in Jamaica, in healthcare, in education, and in a variety of other important philanthropic endeavors. We salute the diaspora for what they do for our people. And indeed, as has been mentioned, we are going through a process of looking at our constitution with a view to becoming a republic. And part of that dialogue must involve a discussion around what it is to be a Jamaican, what it means to be a Jamaican. I personally am of the view that we can't take a myopic, insular approach to this, given the realities of who we are and that we're spread all over the world and how dependent we are on each other. And indeed, Jamaicans on the rock are for our relatives and friends abroad. And our rules around who can participate at whatever level, in my opinion, should reflect that reality and should be inclusive rather than discriminatory or exclusionary. And I'm hoping that we will have that dialogue because it's very important. And we want, insofar as we collectively recognize the importance of the role of our people from all over in helping our nation to develop, that dialogue is an important element of that. So I will just close by wishing you all a wonderful conference. I hope you find it very fulfilling, that you learn a lot, that you share a lot, and that you leave here feeling justified for the effort and expenditure that you made to be part of this. And again, I congratulate the organizers of this conference for making it happen. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day.
Let's now. Talent abounds in this blessed country of ours, and we're going to demonstrate that right now as we get ready to witness a performance by a diasporan violinist of Jamaican heritage who is based in Florida. Her name, Ms. Leah Flynn. Notice the Taino depiction, the image, the look. Oh, I'm sorry. Apart from the excellent music that she just served up, we were equally impressed by the royal African fabric. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. And now, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, will deliver remarks and introduce the Prime Minister.
Thank you for adjusting the mic, Mr. Moderator. Most kind. Friends and family, may I ask you once more to join me in a round of applause for Leah. She is everything we celebrate here today. Everything that we are here about at this conference. Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Mr. Mark Golding, Chairman of Conference, my dear Cabinet colleagues, it's such a pleasure to see you here, all parliamentarians, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Permanent Secretary and other Permanent Secretaries here, members of the Jamaican Foreign Service, and heads of our diplomatic and consular missions overseas, our friends and family from near and far. I'm not going to say Wagwan. Welcome, welcome, and welcome once more. It is so wonderful for us to be together here in the jewel of the Caribbean, Montego Bay, for this 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, the first full in-person conference since 2019. Can you believe 5 years have passed already? I am running out of words to say how happy I am to see your faces and how thrilled I am that we are here to build and advance partnerships for the benefit of Jamaicans here at home and across the globe, to reconnect with loved ones, friends, communities, and partners. Based on the feedback that I am getting, I know that we're all still very much in agreement with Tinga Stewart's statements that, and I know some of you are going to follow me, all nations have them sensation. Every nation have them botheration. But when I check it out loud, no, we're not tadan yard. And if you didn't know before or had been told otherwise, I know that you're getting to appreciate firsthand, those of you who have been away for a while, some of the wonderful things that are happening here and being inspired about the new ways in which you can partner and participate in Jamaica's transformation. I think this has been and is continuing to be an amazing experience for us all. I want to extend also a special welcome to those of you joining us online. Thank you for your love and support and your presence and participation. Guess what? As you blink, it's 2026 again. So you can be here at the next conference. I already have met people who have said that they're planning for who they're bringing in 2026. People bringing children, people bringing business partners. They're already not only making connections here, but they are connecting the dots with the connections that can still be made. And we are absolutely excited about all the opportunities that are being created daily, and we look forward very much to making the experience richer with you when you're here in 2026. But Conference Chair, we still focus on 10th Biennial. We celebrate this year's conference under the theme United for Jamaica's Transformation, Fostering Peace, Productivity, and Youth Empowerment. And that reflects our intent to harness the collective power of Jamaicans at home and abroad to find sustainable solutions for some of our most pressing challenges. Guided by the conference team and led by our former Diaspora, now returning resident, he's moved into a new category, President of UTEC, Dr. Kevin Brown, we've been able to put together a robust and wide-ranging conference program that has benefited from the collaboration of diverse stakeholders from across the diaspora, including, very importantly, members of our Global Jamaica Diaspora Council and our Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council, who we welcome and big up and bless up specially at this point in time. Please join me. Our conferences are more than just talk, but conversations are a critical part of what happens here. Outcomes of previous conferences include the establishment of diaspora task forces in various important areas to national development. They've also influenced the establishment of the National Education Trust, which was created by Prime Minister Holness, the Health for Life and Wellness Foundation, the Charities Act, which facilitates tax incentives for how giving can take place, and in addition, we've made changes to business processes for government departments and agencies. As you know, customs is here, PICA is here, and we're doing things better and differently to serve you more effectively and productively. But these efforts have also allowed the Foreign Ministry to continue to maximize Jamaica's economic growth potential and to drive the country's development agenda through effective collaboration with other ministries, departments, and agencies, presenting Jamaica as a secure investment destination and a secure partner in development. Our biennial diaspora conferences are therefore not only focused on projectized and donations, but they are a continuum of sustained action and impact, enhanced and shaped by the knowledge, expertise, and intellect and capacity of our Jamaican diaspora. Ladies and gentlemen, for the arrangements made which are making this conference a success, I want to extend my sincere appreciation to my incredible team at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Permanent Secretary, for the guidance of Minister Terrelong, our Permanent Secretary, our Conference Project Manager, Ms. Lisa Ogilvie and her team, and I have to say, the stewardship of Mr. Courtney Campbell, Chair of Legacy Partner, the VM Group, and our Conference Chair, has been outstanding. At the global launch in April, I had declared my confidence in his ability to deliver a conference of the highest standard, and I want to say I was actually completely on point. He has been amazing. The preparations of conference have benefited fully from his active involvement and insights. We really are grateful, Courtney. Thank you so very much. We're also deeply grateful to our legacy partners, Grace Kennedy and the Jamaica National Group, which have over the years maintained their strong support for this endeavor, and they are here in full force. I hope you're meeting with them too. And I want to extend special thanks to our very first diaspora sponsor, Bloomaho Capital, our first ever sponsor coming from the diaspora. I would name the names of other sponsors, but I know I will get myself into trouble, so I'm just going to say all of our new incredible sponsors. Thank you for all you have done to bring extra vibes to the conference, and we look forward to continuing to work with you and build our partnerships together. I will single out one partner, though, the Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches, who had a great hand in the wonderful service at Burchell Memorial Baptist on Sunday. Thank you to Jamaica Umbrella Group. And I want to thank especially our stakeholders in the diaspora, our faith-based community, civil society, private sector, community leaders, educators, healthcare workers, law enforcement officers, or heads of mission, and other government ministries, departments, and agencies for your specific contributions, your collaboration, and your commitment to making this conference a success. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are experiencing a paradigm shift in the government of Jamaica Diaspora Partnership. We have made diaspora engagement one of the priorities of Jamaican foreign policy since as far back as 2004. And we just heard about the seminal work of Senator Franklin, the late Senator Franklin, in 2004 when we held our first conference. But we have grown and expanded since. And this room, which not only has had chairs added, is standing room only. And that is a mark of our success, together with the flags here today. But we recognize that diaspora engagement is critical, and it is part of our national development strategy, Vision 2030. We recognize that you are a critical part of our development effort, and we're committed to nurturing genuine partnerships with you. So we've seen a few milestones over the years, including that commencement with 2004, and the establishment of an 8-member Diaspora Advisory Board in 2008. But since 2020, formal engagement has widened and been enhanced by the 30-member Global Jamaica Diaspora Council and the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council. I want to say how pleased I am to be able to welcome members of the original Diaspora Advisory Boards who are here with us today, yes, as well as members of the current council, because it shows the continuity and the connections that continue to be maintained. But it is wonderful, and it is something to celebrate, that in addition to participants from our traditional locations of the US, UK, and Canada, we have diasporans from as close as Cayman and as far as Ghana, Nigeria, and the UAE. I mean, that's wonderful to celebrate. It's great that beyond the UK, we now have participants from continental Europe, from France, Germany, and the Kingdom of the Netherlands. It really is so good to have you all here, and this is part of the intentional inclusion and expansion of our diaspora policy. So you'll be pleased to know that our diaspora conference also is including outcomes from our regional conferences, which were held in Africa, the UK, Canada, and continental Europe over the past year, so during 2023. So when I speak about the continuum, I refer to the fact that we continue to work in between conferences and to make things happen. Ladies and gentlemen, there is so much more that I could say, but I think I will move to the next task, which is on my agenda instead. And I will engage with you as I still am here for the next 3 days. I move to the introduction of the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. At the heart of Jamaica's transformative development is our current Prime Minister. He is Jamaica's youngest Prime Minister and the first to have been born following independence. He has represented the constituency of West Central St. Andrew since 1997. Yes, he has gray hairs now, but he still is the youngest. That's the botheration hairs. But he's serving his 3rd term as Prime Minister, his 2nd consecutive, having been re-elected in 2020. He is dedicated to the creation of an efficient and productive Jamaican society in which all citizens, irrespective of their socioeconomic status, can thrive. Since taking over the leadership of the country in 2016, the focus of his government has been sustainable in economic growth, leading to 12 consecutive quarters of growth, meaningful job creation, leading to the lowest unemployment rate in Jamaica's recorded history, building out Jamaica's house. You can clap for those things, you know, there are things to celebrate, absolutely. Like, why are we feeling shy this morning? Building out Jamaica's housing sector, including for the most vulnerable, and rapid and sustainable infrastructure development, leading to vast improvements and for many, first-time receipts of roads, water, internet, and other critical services. I have to share with you that Prime Minister Holness plays an important role on the international stage. I know some of you follow, including on regional and international peace and security, climate change mitigation and adaptation, financing for development and pandemic recovery, and sustainable ocean economies, and so many more. It's very difficult to get him to travel for all of these issues, but he's always in demand on the international stage. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness is a man of compassion for the people of Jamaica, a man who believes in partnership and inclusiveness, and the diaspora is of particular and sincere interest to him. All of our engagements around the world, from the improvement in day-to-day consular services to the larger issues we tackle at this conference and implementation of the outcomes, please be assured that Prime Minister is also at the helm of these actions with your best interests at heart. Please join me in welcoming to the platform the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica.
First, allow me to adjust the mic to the appropriate height. You will agree with me that the mastery of the ceremony has been excellent so far. Durvan is one of our premier hosts, and he does an excellent job. Where is he? Take a bow. Not many people know that the leader of the opposition and myself share a birth month, which is coming next month. But maybe that's all we share. So. Marky? No, that's how we do it. And that's how we should do it. A sheer force of nature in foreign affairs. That's just how I have to describe my Minister of Foreign Affairs, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith. And the Honorable Orlando Terrelong. Just as an aside, Jamaica has 2 languages. Our patois and English. But as the world expands and we realize our place in the world, we really should have other languages which more of our population would be articulate in. It's very important. The more that I travel, the more I engage in international affairs, you see it is an indispensable asset to be able to speak and understand other languages. And so this is something that I intend to pursue. I've said it, put it on the agenda, but we've just not been able to actualize it, but it is of critical importance for our competitive advantage. So I'm always very proud when I send Minister Terrelong overseas and he's able to quickly switch between his home patois, English, and I know he speaks Spanish very well. I didn't realize he did a little bit of French, and I heard a little bit of German. Very good, very good. Very talented. Let me acknowledge the excellent staff at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they have done an amazing job, I must say. Our friends in the diplomatic corps who are here, welcome. Good to have you. Courtney, our ever faithful support. Thank you so much. And the VM group. Let me also thank our other legacy partners, Mrs. Grace Burnett, who is here representing Grace Kennedy, and Ms. Claudine Allen, General Manager of the JN Foundation. Now, the cameras are all pointed this way, and for those who are listening in Radio Land, you would not be able to taste the atmosphere that is here. I'm hoping that it is conveyed in my voice through the airwaves. But let me use some words. First of all, the audience looks amazing. You're beautiful. And the place packed. Or put it so you can understand it, it ram. I saw the staff bringing out more chairs, and there are people standing around the hall. It is a good look for the Jamaican diaspora. Thank you so much for coming out and being here. I recently returned from a trip in Washington, so on my way back through Atlanta, the flight was full. I was wondering why, what is going on? And the Diaspora Conference. And in fact, as people went through the aisle, they were greeting me and slipping me a few cards and saying, "Prime Minister, I want to talk to you, I have some ideas." It was really good. I was really very impressed. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for choosing Jamaica. I don't take it for granted that you would pay your way, put other things off, make plans to come to this conference. It does mean a lot to your government. So, nowhere no better than yard. And I truly believe that. And I'm absolutely delighted that you also believe that. So I want to extend a warm Jamaican welcome to members of the diaspora from across the globe, from Africa, Asia, the Pacific, Europe, Latin America, the Caribbean, the Middle East, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Canada. Your presence here is a clear testament to the decision to broaden the scope of diaspora engagement to non-traditional areas. It also speaks volumes about your unwavering loyalty and commitment to our beloved Jamaica. Your conference theme, United for Jamaica's Transformation, Fostering Peace, Productivity, and Youth Empowerment, perfectly captures the spirit and ambition of our journey. Recently, I had occasion to speak with a group of young Jamaicans about what it means to be Jamaican. Because for many of our young people, there is a growing sense of frustration. Many of them do not understand why it is that Jamaica wants to become a republic. What is the utilitarian benefit of that? They do not readily appreciate the history and the struggle of our country. And I had to find a way to communicate to them the vision of Jamaica. So I said to them, look, Jamaica is the Wakanda. It's aspirational. It's the little country that could and the little country that did. It's the country that has achieved so much and still could achieve so much more. And that's why you're all here. Because you all believe in the promise of Jamaica. Despite all the challenges we have, despite all the botherations, and I'm one prime minister who does not hide from those issues. That's what I'm here for, to deal with the botherations. No matter how difficult they are, we face them. But we're also here to celebrate. Our efforts at transforming our country have yielded results. Our efforts, your contribution, your voice in holding government to account, in informing your relatives here so that they participate in the political economy, your efforts have yielded results. Yes. Jamaica has now experienced 12 consecutive quarters of economic growth since the pandemic. It is worth recalling that prior to the pandemic, we enjoyed 20 consecutive quarters of economic growth, and this was the longest unbroken period of economic expansion since our independence. I want to say a little bit on economic growth. Let us all agree that the economic growth that we are experiencing, 1% and 2% and 3%, is not the economic growth that we want. We want 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% economic growth. But let us reflect on what our economic growth experience was. Sometimes it went up, most times it went down. Not just that, negative. For several decades, unstable. What has happened in the last decade? We have seen stability in our economy. So I say to our millennials, our young people, and those who are skeptical about Jamaica, and they say, well, our economic growth is low. No one disputes that. But our economic growth is better than it has ever been in the history of Jamaica. You cannot build Wakanda on unpredictable economic growth. You can only build Wakanda by having sustained economic growth and stability. When I was going to university, well, that's a little while ago, the University of the West Indies, I recall doing a paper for my economics class, and I had to look at the unemployment rate. And our unemployment rates have been fairly high over the last 4 or 5 decades. And we have gone up as high as 13, 14% unemployment. What has changed since my administration? Unemployment has come all the way down. We are now at our lowest unemployment rate in the history of Jamaica at 4.2%. Now, whatever I'm telling you, are facts. These are not the facts you get on social media. These are facts that are verifiable. Very important, because I know the diaspora keeps connected, and you keep connected by what you get from your social media feeds, much of which is incorrect. So I'm giving you facts. So there's 2 ways in which Jamaica has changed in a positive and sustainable way. And just to put that into context, since 2016, we have created over 156,000 jobs. The challenge that we have now, and we hear the criticisms, these are low-paying jobs and we need high-paying jobs. We agree with you. But would you rather have no job? So it's a stepping stone. It's a building process. So the first thing is to get all our people into employment. And then, I'll speak about this later, we're going to train them while they're in employment so that they can upskill, as is being done in the societies and countries that many of you are coming from in the diaspora. Then, another important way in which we are improving Jamaica, tangible and fundamental change towards Jamaica becoming the fulfillment of the dream that you all have. You know, a decade ago, our debt was somewhere in the region of between 150 and 140% of GDP, depending on what variables you would use. That's very high. So at that time, Jamaica was one of the most indebted countries in the world. Today, I'm pleased to report that our debt to GDP ratio is now at 72%. We have basically cut it in half. Now, let me be clear on this. The Jamaica Labour Party, which forms the government, doesn't lay claim to this singularly. The truth is that some of the work towards cutting debt was done in the Bruce Golding administration. Then it was picked up and advanced under the Portia Simpson Miller-led administration, and former Minister of Finance Peter Phillips played a great role in that, and we must embrace and acknowledge that this is a Jamaica achievement. We took the baton and we institutionalized it. Just as a point of departure, the institutionalization of good fiscal management, it is not only about laws and institutions, but it is also what government determines to practice. Very important, because when the political pressures are applied on a government and a cabinet to spend recklessly, that is the beginning of the destruction of your fiscal discipline and the return to high debt. Even at the risk of unpopularity, and political frustration, this government has decided to maintain fiscal discipline. That is a transformation in the politics of our country. For fiscal year 2022-2023, Jamaica recorded a balance of payment surplus on our current account of US $352.4 million. The last time Jamaica had a current account surplus was in 1966. Our net international reserves reached a record high of US $5.1 billion in March 2024. Now, when I was growing up, and I was at the university, again, having to look at these figures, you're at 1.8, 2, somewhere around there. Sometimes we went down to below $1 billion. We have never been at $5.1 billion in reserves. I want to make two comments on the reserves. The first is I want to recognize and place on record the appreciation of the government for the tremendous support and contribution of the diaspora. As mentioned by the Leader of the Opposition and Minister Johnson Smith, when tourism earnings fell off, went down to literally zero, it was the members of the diaspora that shared their income with their Jamaican family. One of the things I've heard being said whenever we speak about the reserve is, and I can understand it, it's a simplistic argument, but it's a common sense argument, that you have all of this reserve and look at all the problems in the country. It's a thinking that is in the minds of many Jamaicans, including members of the diaspora. The moment you don't have the reserve is the moment you have problems. The size of the reserve acts as a protection for your foreign exchange rate. If people ever believe you cannot defend your rate, they will drive your rate up. And you always need to have a reserve. If you look at all the countries that are doing well, they maintain a reserve. I'm not just talking about the foreign exchange reserve, but generally, you must have reserves. And that is a part of good fiscal management. So what has changed in Jamaica is that Jamaica is now building buffers and reserves. And that has been possible because we have created an environment of fiscal certainty with 8 consecutive budgets of no new taxes. Now, I know some people just don't like to hear when we say that. But it is a reality. It's a part of your success that your government has been able to do this. Not many other countries can claim that. That's a part of the dividends of good economic management. For those persons who lived in Jamaica during the period 2011 to 2015, you will recall the impact of taxation. We have changed that. And we intend to make this a sustainable feature of the Jamaican economic landscape. one of the things that this administration has done is to change its economic policy to target inflation. Inflation is the bane of democratic governments. It wipes out value. But you still need a little bit of inflation to spur growth. So it's a tricky thing to manage. You want to have some inflation, but not wild inflation. So our policy is to target inflation between 4 and 6%. Over time, who knows? Maybe we'll adjust that target down as our economy becomes more robust. But that is the point that the technocrats have set to be that sweet spot for Jamaica. And we have been maintaining that, except during the pandemic. Inflation went up to almost 12%. Everyone in this room from across the globe, in whichever country you are, would have experienced that spike in inflation. However, there are some who would say it's the government's fault. And as I observe campaigns around the world, the arguments are similar about how governments manage cost of living and inflation. Jamaica has done, I would say, fairly well in bringing down inflation rate. We are now at 5.2%. We are within our target range, and we intend to keep pushing that inflation down. I'll say a little bit more from a policy perspective, because as members of the diaspora, I want you to get a sense of what the government is going to do to improve cost of living in Jamaica. Now, in November 2023, the government of Jamaica, for the first time, issued a Jamaican dollar-linked international bond amounting to 46.6 billion Jamaican dollars, the equivalent of 300 million US dollars. Now, I know members of the diaspora will immediately understand the significance of this in terms of what it means for investor confidence. When you are able to issue an international instrument linked to your currency, that is a massive sign of confidence. It says your currency is exhibiting a certain level of sustained stability that mitigates risk because you have reserves. So we have come a long way since the days when we struggled with high debt and limited resources. And now, what is the next challenge for your government? The next challenge is to create peace in our country and to increase productivity. Those are the two main challenges. So we have attained economic stability. How do we get to now peace? And how do we increase productivity? Many of you are here because you're concerned about the peace element. I heard that the engagement yesterday with the security personnel, that it was very robust. And you got a chance to ask all your difficult questions. And I'm hopeful that it would have changed certain perceptions about what Jamaica is doing on the national security front. Let me just say very quickly, national security is just one element of peace building. Peace building is a very multi-layered and complex policy strategy. But on the national security element, Jamaica has never had the level of investment in our national security apparatus than has occurred under this administration. The investments have been in the human resources. We have increased our security forces significantly. We have addressed the issue of attrition from the security forces. We have incorporated in a significant way new technologies. We have trained the leadership of our security forces. When you look at the JCF's leadership today and you compare it in the past, you can see a substantial difference in the leadership of the JCF. Substantial investments have been made in the training of the human resource. But we have also improved our operational strategies, and it is bearing fruit. The question is, how fast can we get this fruit to mature? Meaning, how fast can we get that murder rate down? How fast can we get the serious crime rate down? How fast can we get the gangs under control? You know, there are some people who say, look at El Salvador. Why can't you do it like El Salvador? And my response is, you know, Jamaica is a liberal democracy. Our laws are different. Our standards here are different. And we have many more issues that we have to balance. And so our approach has to be a gradual one. And our approach has to bring the people along with us. And my own view is that our strategies are working. Our murder rate is now about 10% below what it was last year this time, and we experienced a similar reduction last year. The strategy is to continue to push that homicide rate downwards. The number of gangs that threatened us have been basically cut in half. We have dismantled many of the violence-producing gangs. We have introduced significant technologies, and I won't speak too much about technology. I know there was some concern where members of the diaspora offered to assist with technology and computers and so forth. And it may have created some dissonance in the offer being made versus the acceptance. The truth is that our security forces have created an ecosystem where you have to be very specific with technology that you introduce to it. So it's an entire ecosystem. So, you know, a donation of one thing here might not necessarily fit within that ecosystem. And we have to protect that ecosystem. So things that are coming into it, we have to be certain of what is going into that ecosystem. And it is working. I won't say too much about the investments that we have made, but this is how we have been able to dismantle the gangs. In addition to which, we have made massive investments in MOCA, our major organized crime agency. And we have been dismantling those criminal networks that are operating in the cyber realm as well. So I want to give you the assurance as a diaspora that we are taking a multifaceted, multi-layer strategic approach in reducing crime without, at the same time, violating the human rights and the standards that our people expect of us. We have reached a point in the country where I was listening to the news reports yesterday, and I just laughed to myself, where there was a certain gentleman complaining that the government is building too many police stations. It's crazy, but the truth is that the investments that have been made in the security apparatus is significant. Some of them you won't see the benefit up front. For example, we've made massive investments in the ability to protect our borders with offshore patrol vessels and radars and such. There is a problem in Haiti. Ever so often, we will get a boat or two. But the problem is managed. It's not the same problem as the Bahamas or Turks and Caicos, because we have capabilities which we have deployed, and these capabilities are enduring. You know, if a disaster were to strike, please let none happen. But Jamaica has been able to respond, not just to disasters in Jamaica, but when Dominica was wiped out by a major hurricane, we were able to send our disaster assistance and recovery team to Dominica for 6 months. When there was a disaster in the Bahamas, we were able to send. So Jamaica has built a security architecture that it's not perfect. I'll be the first to tell you that. It's still a work in progress. But we are now a much more secure nation than we were a decade before. On healthcare, another subject for which I know many persons have grave concerns. I mean, we are starting from a deficit, and we can admit that. For the last 30 years, there's really been no investment of any significance in healthcare. The major investment in healthcare would have been the creation of the National Health Insurance Fund, which was created under the previous administration. And that continues to endure, and significantly so. But in terms of health infrastructure, we haven't built a new hospital. So if you're saying, well, what is the quality of service that you get? I mean, there are two key elements to quality of service. One is the quality of the infrastructure, and one is the quality of care given by the staff and the professionals. Both are connected, but certainly if your infrastructure is poor, it adds even greater pressure on the staff and their ability to deliver health with care. So what do we need to correct first and foremost? We need to increase the capacity of the health system to ensure that there is space for a bed for every patient that needs it. We need to build new wards and new health facilities. And how do we do this? You can only do this by either borrowing or ensuring that you run your economy well, that it generates the revenues which you then invest in the critical things that improve the quality of life of your citizens. And that is exactly what your government has done. So we have taken on the mammoth task all at once, never been done before. In this parish, we have spent billions upgrading the Cornwall Regional Health Facility. Some of you may know this. This facility is a more than 50-year-old facility. It was a gift from the government of Canada to us. It never got any maintenance or repairs of any significance for 50 years. Those of you who are coming from countries where you have these high-rise buildings, you know that they go through a rigorous process of maintenance. These buildings reach the end of useful life and they're either torn down or they go through extensive renovations. We have decided to extensively renovate. It's practically a new building. And then just opposite that building, we're building a new hospital, a children adolescent hospital. It will be a state-of-the-art facility, not just for Jamaica, but the entire Caribbean region. Mark will understand when I say that I was born in Spanish Town. You were born at the University Hospital. In St. Andrew. So, I have a special place in my heart for that hospital. And I used to play there when I was a child. My best friend's mother was the matron of the hospital. So I used to leave Spanish Town Primary and go on the grounds and play there. But everyone in Spanish Town will tell you that, the facility, after so many years, the facility was built by the colonial government, by a grant. And since then, it really hasn't had any major improvements. Now we are building a brand new wing of the hospital. Essentially, it's a total rebuilding of the hospital. We're building new facilities at the University Hospital of the West Indies. We're building new facilities at the Bustamante Children's Hospital. So we are undertaking a massive transformation of the infrastructure of our healthcare system, which will increase our capacity and improve the ability of health workers to deliver care. And I say it in that way because recently there have been incidents which have been widely covered in the press, for which I've been, I'm very disturbed by what I've heard, and I've ordered investigations into them. They should come to me at Cabinet next week with a full report. But these are issues that as your government, as your Prime Minister, I take them very deeply to heart, and we commit to doing everything within our powers to ensure that every single Jamaican that needs health care can get access to the health care that they need. Let me just do a check. Everybody's good? You can go another 10 minutes? I don't have you often, so... Listen, so one of the big problems we've had, and I'm going to just wrap up quickly. I have a lot of stuff I wanted to talk to you about, but I'll get to see you in some of the sessions maybe. So one of the ways in which we're changing Jamaica is that we've been categorized as a kind of low-growth, low-wage economy. And because of this issue of not having predictable growth, the segment of the society that has suffered because of poor economic performance would be labor. That's the reality. And labor suffers not just because of low wage, labor suffers because of high inflation. So if you're earning a low wage and then you have to confront high inflation, then the cost of living is going to be high. What is the solution to this vicious cycle? Low wage, high inflation, low productivity, which creates low wage. You get back to a high inflation situation. How do you break out of that? That's a deep question. I'm not expecting you to answer it. But one of the first things we have decided to do is we have to make an adjustment where we can in wages. So we have taken a decision to make the largest increase in public sector wages undertaken ever in the history of the country. It's a $200 billion increase, essentially, when it is completed. And it is the first time that we have increased wages on a sustainable path. Previous administrations have tried, but they have never done it all at once. And whenever they have done it, within a year or so, they have to implement a wage freeze. Because the other element, which I'm going to come to shortly, we need to address the issue of productivity. Now, whenever I say productivity, a large part of the country hears hard work, more work. They want we work more and don't pay we more. And as Prime Minister, I have to be very careful how I deal with these very delicate subjects because of our history. But it has to be addressed. Even if we were to radically increase wages and radically increase the minimum wage, if that is not sustained by a commensurate increase in productivity, then those increases become inflationary. So I'm saying it to you, the members of the diaspora, because you have an incredible influence when you pick up the phone and talk to your grandmother or your brother and your sister, and you are able to explain to them the policies, because the policies that we are trying to implement are the same policies that you are every single day observing in the countries from which you come. Efficiency and productivity are hallmarks of your developed societies in which you are. They are not viewed as an imposition. Every single worker understands and appreciates that, yes, because I have produced more, I have a claim for more pay. And so that is a culture that we need to build here in Jamaica. And you can be of great assistance to us to make that connection that, yes, government can increase the wages, but if we are increasing the wages without addressing productivity, we are only tricking you. Because that increase is going to come back as high inflation. And so the two-pronged strategies, we're increasing as much as we can whilst balancing the inflation so you don't have to suffer from that. But we must now be on this very rigorous pathway of producing more. So remember when I said we're increasing at about 1 to 2% our growth. It is now sustainable. It is an increase in the productivity, not just of labor, by the way, not just of the worker, but how is management structuring business processes and workflows? How are we integrating technology in our business processes and workflow? How are we creating new products? This business of innovation. So you ask me, what is the next frontier to create Wakanda? That is it. Mark, that is it. Productivity. So, you get the message, right? Peace, productivity. Two critical things, right? To create the virtuous cycle. And so remember, we're trying to come out of this vicious cycle that we were in. Low wage, low productivity, high inflation, high debt, which leads to high violence, which leads to low wages, low productivity, etc., etc., etc. So we're trying to break that now to create more productivity, which will lead to better wages, which will lead to a more peaceful society, which will lead to greater productivity, which will get us to prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been a wonderful audience. You are all very beautiful. Welcome home, and thank you for choosing Jamaica. God bless you.
Listen carefully. I shall say this only once. The Prime Minister, thank you very much, Mr. Holness. The Prime Minister is invited for the following photo opportunities. 1, the PM and the Platform Party. 2, the PM, Leader of the Opposition and Legacy Partners. The PM, Heads of Mission and Permanent Secretary, Head of the Jamaican Foreign Service on stage. The PM with the students and teachers who participated in the flag procession in front of the flags. The Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition, hosted by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and the State Minister, are to officially tour the marketplace, accompanied by Legacy Partners representatives. While that is happening, we are going to, for those so inclined, we're going to entreat you to a coffee break.
You want to attend the next session? We resume the next session in the box.
Oh, yes. What time?